What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lineman Life Live. We are here. Starting a little late. Apologize for that. But we are here. Get this thing started. Hope everybody's having a great afternoon. If you're driving home from work, listening to this, hope you're driving safely. And for everybody who's out there, please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the Observant Lineman if you haven't already done so. Now, going to get into some NFL talk today. Some quarterbacks that are making their first appearances now that we have rookie minicamp starting, and OTAs soon to follow after that. Now, my Jacksonville Jaguars, to start off, have been dealing with a little bit of controversy, as we all know. I mean, it's a little bit of a situation. Dodger of Zion, what's going on? I see you there with $5 super chat. Says we got to do Among Us again soon. You're right. You are right, ma'am. We definitely do have to do Among Us again soon. Had a good time with you guys last time. had some unique rules I never played with before. So definitely had fun with that. Hope we can do it again soon. Jaguars definitely looking at a situation that's a little bit funny right now. With the hiring of Urban Meyer, he has brought in a number of different players, a number of different personalities that he has history with. And, of course, the most famous one of all of those, old Timmy Tebow, who he signed, or I'm pretty sure they've signed by now. Is it official? Somebody let me know in the chat if it's official. Didn't really get a distinct, don't think we actually got a verification on that. Let me check real quick. See what we got. I'm pretty sure. I think he signed officially, right? It was, just to me, this whole situation with Tebow is a little bit. It's about who you know, right? I think we all know that. It's about who you know. But Tim Tebow is not a tight end, and this is the position. This is the position that he's tried out to play, that they're signing him to officially. And it just kind of doesn't really make sense to me, because you could have done so much more. Let me see. Is my audio down a little? I feel like it should be. Let me see here. I feel like it should be a little bit higher. Let me know if that's a little bit. Let me know if my audio is too low. Hope it's all right. But the Jaguars having Tim Tebow in their locker room is going to present a number of kind of awkward scenarios, because this is what you got to understand about the locker room is, during training camp, you have all these men in the locker room. Everybody's vying for a position. Everybody's trying to make that 53-man roster. And, once the roster is set, that's your family for the year. Those are your guys that you're going to have to be, completely, linked to. Going to have to be battling to a greater cause. We're all coming together. It's part of the culture. You build the culture of a franchise through the 53 men who were in that locker room. And I hear a lot of people talking about Tim Tebow being an individual who's going to be good for the locker room. Good. He's going to be a leader. He's going to help them set the culture in Jacksonville. But I find that very difficult to take in, mainly because on the professional level, there's a big difference between somebody who is a contributor and somebody who is a part of the core of the team, part of the nucleus of the team, standing up when you're down 17-3 after one half of football. There's a big difference in one of those guys who's been out there sweating, bleeding, taking shots, giving shots. There's a big difference between that guy standing up and, trying to motivate a locker room, whether it's through encouragement, whether it's through intense, pep talk, whether it's kicking something over. It's a very different energy when it's one guy who has been on the field with you, one guy who has been out there who every week, week in and week out, on the field, playing, scoring, making stops, making interceptions, catching touchdowns, throwing touchdowns. It's very different when one of those guys stands up and when the third or fourth tight end on the roster who has never played tight end before in his career, who had a 3-year-long career as a quarterback and who hasn't played football in 6 years, hasn't been on the actual field as a player in 8.5. It's very different when that guy stands up and tries to convince people that that the team should get their shit together. The guys should tighten up. The guys should be ready to go out and win the next half. I mean, there's not going to be any reaction from people who are actual contributors when you have that Tim Tebow rah-rah speech like you did when he was at Florida. That will not fly with professionals. It won't, because you're not a contributor. I don't think Tebow's going to be a contributor at tight end. I just don't think it's possible unless you're going to just run him on, unless you're going to motion him into the backfield and then hand him the ball. I just don't think that it's really a situation that has any meaning, any true meaning for the franchise. Any meaning, any kind of value that's going to allow the franchise to actually, gain steam and gain traction. It's just not something you're going to see from Tim Tebow. Like it's just not at that position. So for me, it's a tough thing. And, my former college teammate, Rob Ninkovich, actually spoke to it very well the other day with Pat McAfee when he told them that there's no way in hell that Tim Tebow would be lined up over him at tight end and be able to block him. And I believe that 100%. I've played against Ninkovich multiple times. I know Ninkovich. I played with him in college. I played against him in the NFL. And, techniques, fundamentals, those are things that New England linebackers did at a level that was good enough to be aligned with some of the best out there with setting the edge. And you just don't see that happening to a player who has sound technique, who knows that this is a guy who is not even really a tight end. He's not going to line up over me and block me into the ground on 4th and 1. That would be an embarrassment. And, fact of the matter is Tim Tebow doesn't really have the size to be that kind of tight end, even if they wanted to. I don't think he has that. But nonetheless, Jacksonville has decided that this is worth a roster spot right now, which I don't really understand, to be honest. I don't understand how this franchise has a new lease on life, and they decide they're going to keep reaching to the past to try and elevate the locker room and elevate the on-field play. It just doesn't really square that would be a logical thing to deal with. In the NFL, in an NFL where you have plenty of young men who are trying to get inside, who are trying to get in their foot in the door. I mean, you look at some of the best tight ends in the NFL, like Darren Waller. That cat is 6'6". Rob Gronkowski, 6'7". What's his name from Kansas City? I forget these cats' names. Help me out, chat. Tight end from Kansas City, tight end from San Francisco. These guys are 6'5", 6'6". Travis Kelce. And then the other guy from San Fran, I forget it. George Kittle. Now they come back to me. George Kittle. These guys 6'5". Travis Kelce, 6'5". Like, these guys are literally freakish athletes. They almost have an element of wide receiver like ability in the way that they run their routes. These guys generally are just as good as of an athlete against linebackers as they are against safeties, and guys have trouble with them. Tim Tebow is 6'2", 6'2", never played tight end, hasn't run a deep route that I know of ever. Hasn't run any real combination of routes to really see where he is as a tight end. So, why when you could have got somebody from the collegiate level that would already be better than him, and you might be able to even use him in a meaningful manner during the season. I just don't see a spot for Tim Tebow on this team. I mean, yes, we're talking about nepotism here. This is a coach who knows a player so well, and because of the player's decorated history in college, which nobody's disputing, all of a sudden now he deserves a chance to get back in the NFL 6 years after he retired. And when he went to go play baseball because he couldn't get anywhere else in the NFL as a quarterback, and people were asking him before he came into the NFL, hey, would you change position? No, I'm a quarterback. So why now is it fair for you to change your position and for you to just be let back in just like that? Like, these are the things that I wonder about, because I said it once when they hired Urban Meyer. It's a sexy pick, but I don't like it. It's a sexy hire, but I don't like it. That dude, I'm sure his ego is as big as the stadium they play in, and to be given the keys to the kingdom with undisputed oversight, we see that the decisions that he's made have really been decisions that have played somewhat against the Jaguars already. He hired a strength and conditioning coordinator from Iowa who was accused of making racist comments repeatedly to players on almost a daily basis, mocking black players, and he was put on blast for that. And the university did their investigation, and they found it to be true, so they fired him. Well, he was boys with Urban Meyer, so he got in Jacksonville until people found out about that. I had a couple of people from ESPN in Jacksonville hitting me up, asking me what I thought about it. And of course I was like, I mean, come on, why would you do that? Because that just goes to show that this is a guy who's trying to run a professional football franchise like it's a college football team. And that's just not gonna work. We've seen this story already. So I was hoping that I would see Urban Meyer do a little bit more in way of getting people who have real NFL experience, people who have real knowledge on the NFL level on how to mold a franchise, and sit back for a second and learn from them, take notes, step in where he feels he needs to, but to kind of allow for the people around him to bring him up to speed and to kind of help guide his experience, at least in the first few years in Jacksonville, so that things can run smoothly. Things are, not going to be running like, this is not going to be what he thinks it is. This is not a college program. You can lose your locker room in the NFL. You can lose it with decision making. And you can lose it quick. And once you lose the locker room, it won't be too long before you start getting slips handed to you from Shad Khan. But, who knows if Shad Khan's even going to be able to make that kind of decision when it needs to be made, if it ever needs to be made. I just don't have a good feeling about this. I just don't. It just doesn't feel like they're getting ready in a way that you would expect for a professional football franchise, especially one that's trying to completely rebuild itself now. Let's take a look here in the chat. Let me see what y'all are talking about. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, Tim Tebow, is this a good signing, or is it just purely taking care of the homies? I mean, to me, that feels like it could be it. Taking care of the homies. Huma Kavula. Over under 3 years for Urban's job. Whoo. Man, that's a tough one. Under? I go under 3. Under 3 if the first season's really rough, under 3. Under 3. We'll see though. We'll see how it plays out. Do me a favor though, hit that like button if you haven't already done so. We got 10 people in here. So we should at least have 10 thumbs up. We only got 6. Let's see if we can go from 10 to 20. Tell your friends to get in here. Tell your sports buddies to get in here. Send them a link. Let's get this thing rolling, man. I did want to get into a couple of stories here that one of them I did a video on earlier today. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It is on a young player from Atlanta, or a young player who was in Atlanta. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of this by now, but it's an update on this guy's situation. So Jontarius Bryant is the guy who fell victim to a hoax, a cruel joke, to be honest. This guy was called by somebody. He's a native of Tennessee. He was called by someone who disguised their area code as an Atlanta area code with a 404 area code in it. And he gave Jontarius an invite to the Atlanta Falcons rookie minicamp. Now, Jontarius did not get drafted in the 2020 draft. He was undrafted. As far as I know, I don't think he was signed with a team that year. But this situation was obviously one that would have, created a great amount of excitement for him to finally be getting a chance. But unfortunately, when he got to Atlanta, after he packed his bags and drove his car all the way down to Atlanta, which, I mean, we're talking about from Tennessee, you're looking at around five hours or so. And I mean, are we talking about traffic in Atlanta as well? Because if that's the case, then maybe 7 hours. But the kid gets there and is told that he is not on any list to be there for any kind of tryout. He hasn't been invited, and somebody lied to this kid because they had never contacted him. So having been contacted, the dude is literally crushed by it, embarrassed by it. And, this story went viral on social media. So, a lot of people have been covering it, but we have an update here from Adam Schefter. He says Jontarius Bryant invited to Hub football event after Falcons tryout hoax. I'm not sure what Hub is. Somebody in the chat, let me know what Hub is. I don't know. Never heard of it. But it says here, on Saturday, former Austin P defensive back Jontarius Bryant said he was the victim of a hoax after he received a message he had been invited to a tryout with the Atlanta Falcons, only to be turned away at the team facility.
Now, if you've seen my video, I did a video on that earlier today, and I went through all of this in his statement about it, so I won't go through it again. But do me a favor, if I can get a mod to drop the link to that video, that would be great. Drop that link to the video in the chat, please. If you could do that, Mr. Slaughter, thank you very much. It says, but on Monday, ESPN's Adam Schefter reported that Bryant was being invited to a Hub football event. Hub Football has invited Austin P., DB, John Terrius Bryant, to its May 23rd event. Per source, Bryant was the victim of a tryout hoax last week, but now will attend the Hub event, as will Falcons and others. Veteran agent Don Yee founded Hub as a new path for players to the NFL. Now, I'm not up to snuff on what Hub is. What the hell does that stand for? If somebody knows. Okay, so Adam Schefter also says other players scheduled to attend the May 23rd Hub football tryout in San Diego include Shea Patterson, Alex Hornibrook, former Broncos linebacker Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall was my teammate in Jacksonville for, how long were we teammates? Me and B. Marsh, we were teammates for, I believe it was like maybe 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years. He was actually a really good linebacker in Denver. What happened? Anyways, cornerback Benewikere, linebacker Corey Toomer, and former Austin P defensive back John Terrius Bryant, who got hoaxed last week. And man, damn, it's kind of messed up to me how they keep saying, yeah, that's the guy that got hoaxed. Because that's really like, that's got to be crushing. You know, it's got to be crushing. You know, you work your ass off every day. You didn't get drafted when your draft class came up. You didn't get signed as an undrafted free agent. And now here you are, finally thinking you done made it, finally thinking you done got it, getting ready, you done called your mama, you done text your homeboys, you done hit up all the chicks that ignored your phone calls before and said, bitch, I'm in NFL now. And you drive down there in probably the best, most focused mood you've been in maybe years. And you get there and these motherfuckers crush your soul. How bad is that? You got hoaxed. Like, can you even imagine who would do that? It would have to have been one of your homeboys. It had to be. That's what I would be saying. It definitely was one of my homeboys. Had to be one of the homies. Because who else could pull that kind of stunt on you? It would be your homies, but you would notice it if it was their voice, right? Like, you would know this. So, I mean, that's just got to be, that's such a frustrating situation to be in. I hope that he does well in this Hub workout. I really do. He does deserve a look. I really think that it's hard when you talk about, you know, what's a surefire way to get into the NFL? There is no surefire way. There really isn't. There's a number of different ways you can get in, and there's a number of different ways you can go out. There's a number of different ways it can work, and you know, it's not so much how do you get in, it's how do you get a shot? How do you get a chance? Because for the majority of people who want to play in it, who have a chance in the world to play in it, that's what it's going to come down to. Do you get a chance to play? Because the reality of the matter is tens of thousands. For those of you who have no idea how this actually works,
some people seem to think that if you get drafted, if you get drafted and you're not in the top 10 picks, then you're a bum. No, it's not how it works. There are tens of thousands. Maybe, I mean, you could even say, I could even say, just to keep it basic, 100,000 college football players have hopes of making it to the NFL. 100,000. Now, out of that 100,000, about 2% of them are going to make it. Yeah, I'd say less than that, because if you're talking about the NFL draft only takes 255 players, period. That's the NFL draft, 255. Then you're looking at probably, I think the total number of players on active rosters in the NFL from all 32 teams is 1,900. So you're talking about 1,900 people, 1,900 people in total in any given year are in the NFL. Out of how many players that are hoping to make it into the NFL in that year coming out of college? Total, tens of thousands at least. So, for this guy, getting a chance is the best that you can ask for. It's the best you can ask for. Getting a chance is still getting a chance. If you do the right things, if things fall your way, you could be in. And we've seen a number of players who are undrafted. Tony Romo was undrafted. Priest Holmes was undrafted. I mean, there's a number of them that you can look at who have been players who have had lengthy careers who were undrafted. So it does not matter where you are when you get into the NFL. It only matters that you get into the NFL. Everything else is purely, aesthetic. Like, you get drafted, that's great. That means you got a better chance of being with the team that drafted you that season. Because after that first season, that draft shit, everybody done forgot about that. Now it's, are you producing? If you're not, you're going to be gone soon enough. So really, it's a great thing that this kid is going to get a shot, at least with this hub situation. There's going to be NFL scouts there. I am fairly confident that he will get a chance this year in a training camp because of this situation. And look, man, you can talk about it being pity or, a pity signing or whatever, anything like that. I don't look at it like that. I look at it like honestly, like the team that decides to bring him in, it wants to bring him in, one, to see if he can play, but two, to also show him that, they understand the kind of damage mentally it can do to him for him to just be left out like that after he got hoaxed. They're doing this for his good as well. And it's one of the few times I would ever think that the NFL would do anything with a sentiment behind it that is genuine for players. It's one of the few times, because things can go, this was a really bad situation for this kid. But let's knock the rest of this out. It says Bryant's agent, Corey Alexander, told ESPN he was frustrated on his client's behalf after the hoax, and I haven't seen it before. He added, working in football, I have never seen this happen. So I hope that it ends. Bryant sent the following email on ESPN to ESPN on Sunday following the hoax. I am ready to move on from the situation, and respectfully, I do not feel like talking about it over and over again. Yes, whoever did this to me is very wrong, but I'm moving on from the situation, and I forgive them for whatever reason they chose to do it. I honestly would not like the person who pulled this stunt on me to be publicly humiliated. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Hey, look, he is a stand-up individual for expressing that sentiment. But let me tell you something, brother. This is the internet. And the internet don't lose. The internet is undefeated to this day. So we're going to find out who it was eventually. And then they'll have their reckoning, as they should. because you don't do this shit to people. You don't do that. You don't do that. You do not do that to people. It says Bryant was a first-team All-Ohio Valley Conference defensive back in his senior year, 2019. This dude was a first-team All-Ohio Valley Conference. I don't know what level. I think he's FBS maybe. I don't know what level that is in terms of football. But 107 tackles in that season. He had 242 tackles, 8 passes defended, and an interception in his college career. So the kid is going to get a chance to show what he's made of, which is going to be good at this hub event. But again, I think it's safe. I feel like it's safe to say that he will get an opportunity to at least make an appearance in training camp. Now, to segue to this next article, because I thought this was worth taking a look at, and I'm sure that's good sports. Brandon would be probably happy that I'm talking positively about these Broncos. But it says here, Kelly Klein joins the Broncos, believed to be the highest ranking woman ever in NFL scouting. And I've always been kind of curious about this. This is a female coach / scout who is going to be serving as the director of football operations, special advisor to the general manager. Don't know if I've ever heard of that role before. Might be one that they made for this situation specifically. I'm willing to bet it probably is. But we definitely, hold on one second before we get started on this. Again, folks, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you share the stream with others. Let's get as many people in here as we can. I'm sending out a tweet right now, actually, so give me a second while I get this tweet out. We live, folks. Tebow sucks. Hoaxers suck. Broncos making some scouting noise at That's Good Sports. Brandon Perna. There he is. All right, so just sent that out. All right, so back to the matter at hand. The Broncos hired this new scout. She's serving as the executive director of football operations, special advisor to the general manager. General Manager George Patton released the following statement on the hiring. Kelly is a rising star in the NFL, and we're fortunate to add someone of her caliber to the Broncos. I'm curious, does anybody know how many female scouts there are in the NFL? I'm kind of interested to know if this is a trend that is picking up steam, or if this is, more of a tokenized situation where a team sees it as something that they can use as PR, so they make the hire and they give her some special title, and it's really, assistant rather than special advisor. Let me know if you guys know about that. I don't know, and I don't want to presume, because when you presume stuff, you're going to get called a misogynist, sexist, all these different things, and I'm just trying to get my information straight. But if somebody can, let me know. Let me know whether or not this is whether there's more than 2 of these in the NFL, because I remember there was the one lady from San Francisco. I remember her. I remember, I think that was it. The lady from San Francisco. And is this her? I don't know if this is her or not anyways. But anyway, it says here, having worked with her for 9 years in Minnesota. Okay, so she's coming from Minnesota. Kelly has a strong understanding of all aspects of football operations and player evaluation, along with outstanding leadership qualities. She will be a tremendous resource with her experience on the pro and college sides, as well as her knowledge of our grading scale and football calendar. And that just kind of like comes off like a little bit basic. Mr. Slaughter, he says he's only seeing the lady from San Francisco. All right, well, looks like this is one of them tokenism ones. All right, so with their hiring, Klein is believed to be the highest ranking woman in an NFL scouting department in league history. You know what? I hate when they like, come on. You need to have at least like 20 women in coaching before, maybe like 10 or 20 before you start saying these things, because that's like, there's only 2. Like, one of them is going to be the highest ranked. There's only 2 of them that we know of. Like, come on, man. That's kind of like misleading when they say that. I never really was a fan of them using those, just kind of using those terms like so easily, so lightly, just because it just doesn't really, it's not saying anything. You're just literally throwing that out there. That's like, hey, there's only been like 5 passes thrown this season, and the one that was 50 yards is the greatest of the year. That's the best pass of the season so far. Like, that doesn't really mean anything. There's going to be, you need more data. Okay. Per the Broncos press release, Klein will serve as primary liaison for the team's football operations while also holding significant responsibilities in both pro and college scouting. Responsibilities will include player evaluation, day-to-day football administration, and preparation for the NFL draft and free agency, along with overseeing the video and equipment departments. Ooh, starting to come into clear focus now. So when they say that she's going to have responsibilities will include player evaluation, day-to-day football administration, and preparation for the NFL draft and free agency, this really means she's going to be in meetings, in meetings where we're evaluating players. That's going to be daily. So she's going to be in our daily meetings with us. Nobody's going to be asking her really many questions about anything, but she'll be taking notes. And she will be a part of us. She will be helping get things in order for the NFL draft and free agency. I don't know too much about what the very intricate nuance of those 2 phases of the year are as much because those are usually things that are happening while players are not anywhere near the facilities. Overseeing the video and equipment departments means she'll be getting film and taking it to the coaches' meeting rooms so that they can watch it. Because those departments are completely self-sustaining and they don't need oversight. I mean, in Jacksonville, our film department, our video and equipment departments, when we go in there, walk into the film department, I remember it was Mike. I forget his last name, but Mike was our film guy. He was there since the beginning of the Jaguars, I think. And you go in there, you tell him, hey, man, Mike, I need, film on this team, and this team, or I need film on this guy on the defensive line for this team for, the last 6 games. And they'll get it made, and they'll bring you, they'll when I was in Jacksonville, they load it onto your iPad. Load it onto the iPad. They bring it back to you before you go into meetings, and boom, you can watch that film as much as you want. Before that, they were doing it with DVDs. So you tell them what you want. They write it down. They burn the DVDs, put them in packets, bring them to you before you leave the building at the end of the day. So you could get access to that. So it's completely self-sustaining. So I don't really see a reason why they would say she'd be overseeing the video and equipment departments, because that's really That really doesn't make any sense. There's no real purpose there. Then we got a couple of tweets here from the people who have actually, I guess, worked with her. Benjamin Solak says Kelly Klein was a PR person for the Vikings before taking a scouting internship and just learning the whole profession. Extremely cool stuff. So she's really not. She was a PR person for the Vikings, and this looks like she has a stopwatch in her hand here. This is practice or training camp. Let me see. That's his practice jersey. So this is practice. This is a scrimmage, and she's basically just timing something. So it must be a special teams play where you have a kick going, because that's what a special teams coach will be having their assistants do. It's to time kicks, how much hang time, how long it takes for the field goal kick to be kicked, things of that nature. So, very rudimentary jobs, very monotonous things that aren't necessarily indicative of actual like talent for scouting or anything like that. But I'm wishing the best. I'm hoping the best. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm like thrilled that they're, kind of tokenizing female coaches and putting them in there more for the perception to the public rather than actually like seeing some things in them that they can use and that are actually prove that they have viable skill in certain departments. When you look at I can't remember the woman's name, but she's like the first general manager for the LA Dodgers, I think it is. An Asian woman. I forget her name. But if you go and you look at in real talk, and I'm being fully transparent here, real talk, I kind of mocked it when I heard that she was being given that first, general manager, like full control general manager of a Major League Baseball team. I forget her name, but she's with the Dodgers, I think it is, or the Marlins. There you go. She was with the Dodgers. And this woman is a beast. If you go look at her resume and the teams that she's worked with and the things that those teams have done, with her being a big piece of those teams doing that, like, she is absolutely legit, and she does deserve to have the job that she got. Like that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see. I want to see those kind of hires, because those are people who have been under the tutelage of different coaches, different owners, different managers, and they have actually like learned the system. They learned the game. They learn how to make moves, how to make power moves. You know what I mean? And if somebody can give me that lady's name, if somebody could find me that lady's name, that would be great. She's, matter of fact, let me look her name up. General manager of the Marlins, I think it is. Kim, I don't even want to mispronounce it. I'll get called sexist if I mispronounce it. But this is her, Kim Ng. She's a beast. She is a beast for all intents and purposes. She is, she worked her way up, and you talk about a glass ceiling, look, I know that a lot of these terms are used in very like politically correct ways. But this to me is the actual representation of breaking through the glass ceiling in a real way, Like, she became highly respected by all her peers because she was on point. She was on point with how she helped these teams build their franchises to be competitive for championships. And the Florida Marlins, they recognized her and they recognized what she'd been doing. And I'm sure she was highly recommended by the people that have worked with her. And she was given their general manager job. And she deserves that. And I think that that is the true breaking of a glass ceiling in showing that you are far advanced in your skill set as compared to everybody else in the field. And there is no way to hold you back from being given a position of authority. And that's what she got. And I think that was cool. I thought that was cool. I even misjudged that at the start. But then I said, okay, you know what? Let me go look into what she did with other teams. And the woman was a beast. So kudos to her. I think the NFL is kind of doing this a little bit more and, letting these women come in, giving them an opportunity to work with them. But I have to ask, is the NFL or these NFL coaches actually trying to groom them to actually be people who could be in positions of authority within the franchise? I would say no. I don't think that they're doing that. I think this is more PR because if you look at the minority coaches being black coaches or coaches of color, I guess, brown coaches, black and brown, whatever, they're not getting many more. They're not getting more chances. Like you're not seeing an ascension from them in a visible way. So how would the women be receiving a more visible ascension into coaching than the black coaches are? I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening before black coaches get that. So I'm not I'm not very much convinced by what San Francisco and Denver have done, because they're not really these are positions, being somebody who's been in the locker room, who's been in those cultures. These are positions that are easily replaceable. They're not positions that if you lose this person, it's gonna take some time to fill that spot. It's gonna take some gusto to kind of find the right person to kind of keep the chemistry with the team. No. That's not gonna happen. So to hell with all that for the NFL. I think that is this is nice, but it's not serious like people think just because they see it. It's not serious. Not at all. So, I think that's kind of it. I think that's kind of it for where I wanted to go with a lot of stuff today. This is kind of me starting this how should I say, my daily streams. Now it's going to be daily instead of once a week. So please make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can get notified or when each and every day that I'm going to be doing these. I'm going to be doing these at 5. Today I started a little bit late because I was at the gym, and out here in Atlanta, even if I leave the gym by like 4:45, I still pulled in the house at like 5:28. So, I was a little bit late. I'll adjust, and tomorrow it'll be much smoother. But tomorrow I'm gonna have some more topics ready to talk about. But please feel free. I'm going to be posting on the community tab on my channel's page. Please feel free to go check it out. I'm going to be posting, asking what you guys want me to talk about tomorrow for tomorrow's show. And I would love for you guys to give me some feedback on things you want to hear about. Drop links to articles if you want, however you want. I really want you guys to be a part of this. I don't want this to just be one-sided because you guys are the audience and I am trying to connect with y'all. So make sure you check the community tab and see, or just drop me a note on Twitter. You guys know how to find me on Twitter. And just drop me a note. Let me know that there's something you're interested in that you'd love for me to go over and talk about. And I'll take a look and see what I can do to get that done for the next show. But I am actually going to go watch Army of the Dead tonight, the new Zack Snyder film. So definitely about to get ready for that here in the next hour and a half. But I do really appreciate you guys very much for being on here with me. Just to start for today, it's Monday, it's the very first day of the week. We're going to be going every day this week. Every weekday during the week, we're going to be doing our live stream from 5 p.m. To 6, sometimes a little bit longer, maybe 6:30, depending on how we're doing. So definitely looking forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. Tomorrow will be much more crisp in how we handle it. So I appreciate you guys very much. Hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and I will catch you all on the next one.